Makoto Shinkai's seventh film, SUZUME, was released in 2022. The titular character is a 17-year-old girl who lives with her aunt. One day, on her way to school, she meets a mysterious man who she is immediately transfixed by. He asks her for directions to some ruins nearby, claiming that he is in search of a particular door. And that's all I'm going to say, because I went into this film blind to the story, and that's how I think it's best viewed. The reason why is because this is a very unique and unusual story that doesn't play out the way you'd expect it to. After a scene like the one I just described, most films would use this inciting incident or MacGuffin to essentially set up a 3-act structure with a clear ultimate goal the characters must achieve for the story to conclude. But this film plays out more like how a real story should play out, like a Quentin Tarantino movie almost. The story unfolds throughout. It unravels. As new stones are unturned, the story changes trajectory. I definitely didn't expect the film to go to the places that it does. There is a certain cinematic wonder in this film. I can imagine children who see this film being captured by it, much like the way children were captured by films like Spirited Away over 20 years ago. And it was nice to see parents bringing their kids to the cinema to see it when I saw this in 2023. It wasn't packed like the way that Super Mario Bros. Was next door, but this was definitely the superior film. There are all these beautiful little details inside of the film. One that springs to mind is early in the film, when Suzume lifts her feet off of her bike pedals as she rides down a hill. Moments like that really do a lot to authenticate the film. How many times have we all done that while riding a bike in real life? I also liked how they utilized phones in this film. They understand that if they want to set a story in this decade, phones can't be ignored, so they play a big role. A lot of Hollywood films have never quite adapted in the 21st century to phones and how they can play into narratives. In this film, phones go off in people's pockets and they miss the calls, they use them to communicate with each other over text, they run out of charge at inconvenient times, and the Spotify road trip playlist was a total jam. The score is really wonderful overall. It has ominous moments, triumphant moments, contemplative moments. It mixes a range of styles, but it really works and gets in your head. It sets a great mood. I even felt myself get choked up towards the end of the film, and the music definitely helped with that. The animation is stunning. The painted backgrounds are marvelous. The way they integrated CGI elements was really well done. When it comes to anime, I'm always going to be a 2D guy, but with this film, they knew how to use the CGI to enhance what they were doing with the 2D animation. I love that they don't try to overdraw the characters. You may have a detailed background, but the characters have a nice charming simplicity to the way that they look that allows them to move in a kind of free-flowing way through the scenes. With digital animation, the possibilities are endless, so sometimes when you have a character who is far away in the shot, but they are digitally drawn, they'll still have a lot of detail in their face. This doesn't always sit right with me. You can tell they've shrunk an image that they drew large. You know how with old hand-drawn cell animation, when they had to draw characters far away, they drew them small, so they just had like 2 dots for eyes, or sometimes no face at all? I will say, the one thing I couldn't quite get behind was the CGI cars. I really just can't vibe with the CGI cars. They stick out like a sore thumb. It's just like not anime to me. So the film has action, family drama, comedy, and romance. It has a really deep well of themes that it draws on, and whilst I was invested in all aspects and liked how each thread concluded, my one real criticism is that the film is so ambitious in juggling all these elements that it sometimes feels a bit overstuffed, especially in the third act, and so we don't always get to fully drive all of the points home. But still, I think this film is really great. It's investing in all the right ways, it's so detailed, it keeps you on your toes, and it keeps you smiling throughout. The ending is honestly quite profound. The story is epic, the characters are endearing, the animation is gorgeous, and the action is satisfying, and it's all undercut with effortless wit and whimsy despite its scope. I want to preserve the film, so I don't want to get into the story much, but it is very layered, and I'm sure you can interpret it in many different ways, all of which would be valid. I really appreciated what they were going for with the character of Suzume. I've seen characters like her before, but she still feels very unique and subtly well realized. She is innocent, but innately strong. I highly recommend this film to not just anime fans, but film fans in general.